I knew that a big school was not right for me. I wanted small, I wanted the one-on-one attention.
The idea that the students ran the place was very appealing.
In high school, no one really challenged me. You know, I did really well in high school because I knew how to get by. I knew the amount of work that I could do and had to do in order to get an A or a B.
I wanted to go someplace where I could know people who were in charge of my education, and I wanted to take charge of my own education, and this seemed like a good place for that.
In high school I was a C&D student, and it wasn't that I was bad, but like a bad kid, but I just wasn't too interested.
I figured it was my chance to come to a place that I had been dreaming about for years, you know, and do the things that I want to do, which is what this place is about.
I was intrigued with the idea that you can create your own study. So for instance, if I wanted to illustrate the different postures and behaviors of these animals, I could create a structure, put the animals in it, study them, and just basically live in the Vermont Green Mountains. It just seemed like a really good idea.
Here's a place where you grow, and don't think that you have to come here and you have to be an adult immediately, but also keep in mind that, you know, you are responsible for your actions, and that kind of responsibility helps you grow here.
I think the students who thrive here are the ones who have intellectual curiosity.
We're not a normal, mainstream, typical college. I think to that extent we get the students who raise the questions and who push the parameters and are very introspective in terms of themselves, and a commitment to do it their own way and to be individualistic in that process.
Yeah, I think it's just really that the willingness to begin to think, not necessarily to know, but just to start thinking about ideas.
It took me about a month to get used to the amount of reading and the amount of writing, but you know, as soon as, I mean, you come here to do work, you know, and as soon as you get hooked on it, you get hooked on it. You know, they want you to sort of immerse yourself in what you're interested in.
All of a sudden I found myself really becoming intrigued by ideas.
When you're in a class that's small, the professor does expect more from you than in a large class.
The hearers, the listeners, plays.
Many professors have a habit, actually, of letting the conversation die until somebody takes the initiative, and that's their way of driving home the point that you are responsible. If there's nothing to talk about, then you won't talk.
Shows too, like, it's definitely a partial decision.
Being in such a small community, you are very visible and your efforts are needed. A lot of things are done on your initiative.
And it's a really wonderful feeling when you do it and you realize that it's because of your momentum that the class is discussing this or that, or it's because of your background research that you know what's going on and can contribute to something.
That's what it's all about. And as a teacher, to come into a class, none of my students are in that class because they're fulfilling a requirement. They're there because they want to be there.
We believe in a free interchange and in the necessity of being able to defend and articulate your position, your ideas about what's important.
I think Vermont is an incredible place to live.
The outdoors program and the recreation department really go out of their way to make things happen. And there's a lot of fun and exciting events that take place every weekend. There's always something going on.
think that the Marlboro curriculum in certain respects is traditional. That is, we do what other liberal arts colleges do. What's unusual about it is that we do it in much smaller groups than people are perhaps used to. Ultimately coming down to tutorials with advanced students, just one faculty member and 1 or 2 students.
Well, the teaching here is a lot of fun compared to most places. If you're teaching in a place with a 1,000-student lecture hall, they're just blank faces out there. You have no real connection with the students. If you're sitting down with 2 or 3 students in your office and they're asking you questions and you're teaching them, it's a lot more fun. It's interactive. You get to know them as people.
Their excitement, their energy is coming to me, and I'm directing it. I'm giving them suggestions. I'm giving them leads. I'm acting as a resource, and it makes it fresh. It always makes it exciting, and I never feel like I'm repeating myself because it's individualized for them.
The faculty at Marlboro are incredibly good at guiding students and helping students find their intellect, I guess, find their voice.
I get to know students extraordinarily well. I get to know them as individuals. I get to know them as people. I get to see them make a real transformation from oftentimes very shy people when they come here to really competent scientists when they leave. They're more a colleague than a student. I learn as much as they do.
I'd say what's most characteristic of Marlboro is that we really accept students as essentially equal partners in developing their education and making their education work.
They're always sitting down with students or talking with them after meals. I've never seen a faculty member close their door on a student. If they're sitting there, they're fair game. You can come and talk to them and they talk back and they like it.
There's a slow and steady transition at Marlboro where the student becomes the director of his or her work and the faculty participants reactors instead of the other way around. In the first year or two, I think it's fair to say that we tend to direct student studies and they react to us. In the last 2 years of their study, they're providing a syllabus for us.
Yeah, I think that the essence of the Marlboro approach is a balance between liberal arts education, which we emphasize the first 2 years, taking classes broadly and really learning the basics of the disciplines.
By the junior year, a student's work becomes focused in a plan of concentration. Everybody here just calls it simply the plan. Plans are often cross-disciplinary and vary a lot both in content and style.
Well, like all the disciplines, the approach to science is to start with some general basic courses in the first couple of years, set a foundation for work in that field, and then to choose a plan, dive deeply into that one aspect of the field, and through that learn how to do a project. Kelly, like most of the physics students, somewhere in their sophomore year have to come up with a planned project. The holography thing that we're doing was entirely her idea. She ordered all the supplies, she found the right references. I helped her do a lot of that, but I'm not an expert in holography, or at least I wasn't before we started this whole thing. She's really managed to pull it off.
I'm writing one big paper, which is in 3 sections, and I'm doing a lot of dance, and I'm teaching the African dance class.
Radha is a student in the World Studies program. One day she walked into my office and said she wanted to go to Africa. She managed to find an internship in West Africa, where she taught school and studied dance while living with an African family. Radha is teaching 25 students. There is a loud articulation of the extent to which one student, not only has she changed her life, but this experience has changed the lives of others.
It's something bigger than just writing a couple of papers and binding them together. It teaches you how to work through things, and it teaches you an important, steps in life, how to begin something, how to go all the way through and see it till it's finished.
Now those skills,
To identify a problem, to frame a problem, to undertake the appropriate research with regard to that problem, to draw conclusions and articulate those conclusions is extremely valuable no matter where you go or what direction you go in after college.
I never thought I would be as busy as I am living in the middle of a mountain in Vermont, but there's always something to do, and it's always different, and it's always interesting, and there's always new and intriguing people that you can talk to. It's great. I mean, everybody eats dinner together every night, the dining hall, and you know everybody and everybody knows you. I mean, it's a genuine community where people care about you.
Well, when you have a problem here, you know, be it social or academic or personal or whatever, you don't have to be alone. We're a community, you know, we have to help each other live.
People don't judge you by where you're from, the color of your skin, the way you talk, if you speak English. I mean, no, they don't care. All they care about if you want to like get to know them.
Living in such a small community really gives you a basis of family almost. The social life, it's based on how much efforts the students put into it.
I think that there's something for everybody here.
The man you see here is the most respected of all.
The white heads and red eyes and two legs, but I know they don't go on forever.
Don't just come back no more, no more, no more, no more.
Brattleboro is a nice town to be near because it's not too big, it's not too small.
Town meeting will please come to order. We'll proceed to the first item on the agenda.
Student government here isn't like any other school.
The way Marlboro College community governs itself is by town meeting.
Further nominations. Geraldine. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay.
Everybody in town meeting gets one vote. The faculty, the staff, the administration, everybody's vote is equal.
So when I got to school here, I went to town meeting and proposed that I build an aviary. We were given $999 to build this, and the entire community built the enclosure.
You have a vote, you have a say in what goes on with your life, and it really promotes a feeling of ownership, and that's a parallel track in a lot of ways to what goes on academically.
The culmination of a student's academic work is marked by the oral examination. It is a discussion and, in fact, a celebration of the student's work with her faculty sponsors and an outside evaluator who is an expert in that field.
I really enjoyed it. It was really nice to sit there with all the work that I had done and my 3 professors and this examiner who has spent the last 25 years of his life studying what I have just started to study. I think he was pretty darn impressed.
Radha is a wonderful example of a student who comes in seemingly young, very shy, very quiet, and quite unsure of herself. And I think she's leaving Marlboro with a sense of confidence.
African Studies, a study of development in West Africa through politics.
That's just beautiful. She's bloomed.
The Gambia, West Africa.
I care about what I'm doing, and I care about doing it well. I'm not a different person than I was when I came here, but I know myself a lot better, I think.
Well, one thing that I think Marlboro gave me was confidence in the way that I think and in what I can do.
I'm a very different person. I mean, I'm still me, but I'm more me now than I was when I got here.
Marlboro's like gone way beyond my expectations, I think. I don't really want to leave here. I mean, I have to.
Jonathan Stewart Gittleson, Bachelor of Arts, Literature and Photography.
There's really no other place like it.